Congressional lawmakers, specifically the very committees that are conducting the impeachment investigation, have begun releasing the transcripts of the Trump officials who have testified in closed-door hearings. Now, there are two individuals who had testified earlier. One of them is Marie Yovanovitch. She is the former ambassador to Ukraine. The other is Michael McKinley, former Mike Pompeo aide. Now, there was some pretty damning stuff in their testimony, and I want to share that with you today. So for instance, the US ambassador was seen as insufficiently loyal to President Trump. This is about Yovanovitch, and was the subject of a campaign by the White House and its allies to undermine her. So this is really fascinating stuff because Yovanovitch was a career ambassador. She had done some incredible work in Armenia, for instance. And so she knew what the rules were. She knew what the protocol was when it came to dealing with foreign relations. But she noticed that there were some strange things going on with Donald Trump, his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, the types of demands that were made of the Ukrainian government. And so rather than, maybe don't break the law and don't ask a foreign government to dig up dirt on your political rivals, let's just go ahead and get rid of Yovanovitch. That's essentially what happened. So testimony from both officials underscored the reluctance by the State Department to issue a public show of support for Yovanovitch as she came under fire from the president's allies. The two officials also described an environment in which people constantly worried about a rogue tweet from Trump's Twitter account. No, but that's
real.
A
weird way of describing that.
It's so true. I mean, you see it every day. Republican lawmakers are so scared of Trump targeting them through a tweet that they will do anything and everything he wants.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a sick movement. Like we were right there, it was that she's insufficiently loyal, and we know that loyalty is the most important thing in this particular type of political construct they're creating. And we just showed the video of Rand Paul, who, I mean, everyone in the audience has hated Rand Paul, but Trump claps for him, so now they like Rand Paul. And I think, would that happen to us? Like if Bernie Sanders gave a speech and he brought out, now next up is a guy I've always liked, and it's Rahm Emanuel. Would we cheer for Rahm Emanuel?
No.
Or if he tweeted you know what, been trying to work with AOC, she's weak AOC. Would we hate AOC? No.
Look,
but on that side, it is so contingent on what the dear leader says on any given moment, and you'll flip your evaluation back and forth. It's a very flexible position.
Yeah, it's interesting because the rules that have traditionally applied to politicians somehow don't apply to Trump when it comes to his base, when it comes to voters. They will change course in a second if he decides he wants to contradict himself, right? It's pretty incredible. Now, I want to read you a portion of Yovanovitch's testimony. She said, quote, "If you have the president's son saying, we need to pull these clowns, or however he referred to me, it makes it hard to be a credible ambassador in a country." So she's being undermined by lunatics and idiots like Donald Trump's children, right? And then you have McKinley, who said during his testimony, he repeatedly voiced a frustration with what he viewed as a lack of support for career diplomats from State Department leaders as the Ukraine scandal burst into public view. The top, or I should say the former top Pompeo aide, told lawmakers that he had 3 conversations with the Secretary of State about issuing a statement in support of Yovanovitch, but Pompeo ultimately decided not to publicly back the ambassador.
I wonder why.
Right, exactly. And so he's not gonna back the ambassador when Donald Trump wants to push her out so he can find some sort of yes man or whoever he can find that's gonna just go along with what he wants to do and not raise any questions. Yovanovitch said that Gordon Sondland, ambassador to the European Union, urged her to tweet out there that you support the president in order to bolster her job security. Yovanovitch, to her credit, declined, telling investigators that she just didn't see that there would be any advantage to publicly taking on a fight with those who were criticizing me in the United States, given the State Department's silence.
Yeah, and look, I don't know that she's necessarily the greatest example of this, but some combination of her and Vinland and others who've been wrapped up in this, it's a reminder that for all that we have been trained to see these little back and forths, these little fights through just partisan lenses. And again, going back to loyalty, there is an actual job to be done. And being in the Foreign Service doesn't mean that you're an awesome expert or anything, but you are supposed to be well trained with a lot of experience and contacts in the region. And for many Trump supporters, all that they think about when they think about the Ukrainian government is what can they potentially give us about Biden. But Ukraine is also in an incredibly complex and dangerous situation right now, and its future is by no means assured to be free of further aggression from Russia. We need skilled people there dealing with this, and when you're just continually flushing out people who are, sure, they're experts in the region, speak the language, they know about it, they have tons of contacts, but they're not sufficiently loyal to the president, that does not serve our interests at all.
And it certainly doesn't serve our so-called democracy.
Yeah.
Because then you have this dictatorial regime and you're not allowed, for all the right wingers who make a big deal about protests in regard to conservative speakers on college campuses, right? You should be able to disagree with one another. You should be able to hear ideas that are different than yours. I mean, the president of the United States, the very person that they support, refuses to have anyone around him who will ever call into question his actions, criticize him. He has surrounded himself. He's actually insulated himself so he doesn't have to deal with any type of criticism.
Yeah, Yovanovitch, she turned the dial of ideas to too hot.
Too hot.
And so she had to be cast out of there.
Yep.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.